Your screen time dips, your eyes stay locked in longer conversations, you're present more often than you're not. The brain is recalibrating. Dopamine levels previously spiked and drained by constant release begin to settle into a natural rhythm. You start feeling satisfaction in smaller things, a finished task, a deep breath, a real conversation. Focus becomes a tool again, not a chore. The same energy you used to spend fighting urges is now directed toward building. I know. Your to-do list shortens, not because there's less to do, but because you're finally doing it. You become more intentional with your time. Mindless scrolling starts to feel off. Shallow entertainment doesn't hit the same. Even music sounds different, like your brain is hearing layers it used to miss. You begin to speak more deliberately, not to fill silence, but to say something that matters. You listen more, interrupt less. You're not trying to prove anything. You're absorbing, learning, observing. There's also a growing sense of internal order. You start keeping your space cleaner. You feel discomfort when you slack off. The same self you once abandoned for quick relief is now the self you're starting to respect again. And maybe, most surprisingly, you begin to remember who you were before the noise, before the loops, before the compulsions took the wheel. And don't add any emotional shift day 15 to 30. Now the energy isn't just physical or mental, it's emotional. By the third week, the tension you've been holding, it starts to move. Not in a chaotic way, but in waves that reveal just how much you've been suppressing or avoiding. You might feel old emotions rising to the surface, anger, regret, loneliness, shame. Not because something is wrong, but because you're finally feeling again. Without the constant numbing, your emotional system wakes up. Mood swings happen. One day, you're laser-focused, confident and clear. The next, you might feel irritated for no reason. That's part of the balancing act. You're not used to holding this much energy, and your nervous system is adjusting to the weight. But here's what's different now. You're not running from the discomfort. You're watching it, breathing through it. Learning from it. This is where the emotional growth begins. The version of you that used to explode or shut down is learning to stay centered. You're not reacting to every trigger. You're creating space between stimulus and response. Relationships start to shift. People around you can sense something. You're more grounded, more consistent. You're not seeking validation. You're holding your own frame. You might notice that conversations go deeper, that you're speaking with more intention, not to impress, but to connect. You're not chasing attention anymore. You're becoming the kind of man who draws it without trying. And under all of this, there's a quiet confidence forming. It's not ego. It's not bravado. It's a knowing that you are capable of carrying your energy instead of spilling it. That you no longer need to prove yourself to feel like yourself, to feel like yourself. This confidence isn't loud. It doesn't need to be. It shows up in your silence, your presence, your ability to stay calm under pressure. It's the kind that people feel before you even speak. The warrior's discipline day 31 to 60. By the time you cross into the second month, something solid begins to form. Discipline is no longer something you try to do. It's becoming a part of you. Your actions are sharper. Your days are more structured. Your standards are rising, quietly but firmly. You're no longer negotiating with yourself. You don't spend the morning debating whether you'll stay on track today. You just do it, because now there's momentum, and that momentum has power. The urges don't disappear entirely. They evolve. They become more subtle, more psychological. But now you see them for what they are, fleeting. You don't fear them anymore. You understand them. This stage is where inner strength starts to crystallize. You're building something internal, a kind of quiet armor that doesn't harden you, but protects your clarity, your focus, your vision. You start to act more on instinct, not animal impulse, but refined instinct. A deep inner compass guiding your decisions without the clutter of guilt, shame, or hesitation. And you begin to notice that your presence has weight, not because you're trying to dominate, but because you're holding more energy than before. People feel it. You're walking into rooms differently. You're not demanding respect, you're embodying it. This is also where creative energy surges. Ideas flow faster. You're more attuned to patterns. You connect dots others miss. The same energy that used to be spent chasing stimulation is now fueling projects, passions, goals. The mind, when not distracted, becomes a weapon. You'll feel moments of doubt, Moments where you wonder if all this effort matters. But deeper than that is a knowing that every day you choose mastery over impulse, you move further from the man you used to be and closer to the man you were meant to become. Magnetic Energy Day, 61 to 90-something changes in how the world responds to you. Not because you've said anything. Not because you've posted about your streak, but because your energy speaks louder than your words ever could. By the third month, your presence becomes magnetic. People notice, even if they don't know what they're noticing. The way you walk, the way you speak, the way you look someone in the eye. There's a new stillness in you. One that doesn't beg for attention, but naturally draws it in. This is not charisma built on charm or performance. This is raw, unfiltered masculine energy being held. Contained, directed, you're no longer bleeding power through distractions and compulsions. You're storing it, refining it, and it's radiating from you in ways you never expected. Women can feel it, not in a creepy, desperate, try-hard kind of way, but in the way your gaze holds theirs without flinching, in the way you listen fully, without chasing, in the way you stand unshaken by the noise. Men feel it too. Some admire it. Some get uncomfortable around it because it reflects back to them something they've forgotten, what it looks like when a man is centered. Your words carry more weight now. You say less and people listen more. Why? Because you're not reacting. You're responding. You're choosing your moments, and when you speak, it's with intent, not for validation. Even your body starts to shift. Testosterone levels stabilize. Posture improves. Your eyes are clearer, skin tighter, jaw more defined. The biology is catching up to the mindset, but underneath the physical, there's something deeper. Creative power. You feel ideas rise without effort. You feel more connected to your goals. You can sit with a vision and actually see how to build it. Because your mind isn't fogged and your drive isn't fractured. Transmutation begins day 91 to 110. This is where everything starts to align. Energy, mind, emotion, purpose. You've been holding the current for over 3 months, not suppressing it, not ignoring it, transmuting it. At this stage, the raw drive that once pulled you into loops of release and regret now begins to refine itself. It no longer feels like a battle. It feels like fuel. You wake up with a quiet fire. Not the restless, scattered urgency of someone who's chasing, but the focused burn of someone who's building. Your decisions are sharper, your distractions fewer. You're not just avoiding temptation, you're replacing it with habits that matter, with actions that build, with work that demands the best of you. Your sexual energy starts to rise in new ways. It's not just physical arousal, it's creative force. You want to make, to move, to express. Whether it's in business, heart, fitness, or mission, you feel pulled toward output. And that's what transmutation really is, taking the most primal energy you have and choosing where it goes, how it grows, and what it creates. You might feel more connected to yourself spiritually too. The silence becomes more comfortable. You can sit with your thoughts without needing to run from them. There's space now between you and your impulses, between thought and action, between ego and truth. Your intuition sharpens. You begin to sense when something is aligned or off without overthinking. You trust yourself more. Not because everything is easy, but because you've proven you can handle what's hard. People may start coming to you with questions, with respect, with curiosity. Not because you're preaching, but because they sense stability. And in a world full of chaos, that's rare. The work you do during these days starts to feel cleaner. There's less friction, less inner conflict. You're not trying to escape yourself. You're using what's within you. There's no shame in your past, only power in your presence. This energy, once wild and compulsive, is now under your command. And with that command comes clarity about your goals, your values, your path forward. You're not chasing sensation anymore. You're walking with purpose, not hurried, not desperate, but locked in, focused, directed. By this point, you've crossed into a completely different state of being. The urges that once felt overwhelming are now just whispers in the background. You don't resist them out of fear or guilt. You move past them with understanding, with discipline, with clarity. Because now you're operating from a higher place, not survival, not reaction, but intention. And you've built a rhythm. Your days are shaped by structure, not by impulse. Your emotions are steady, your focus is locked in, your actions align with your values. You're no longer pulled in 100 directions. You choose where your energy goes and who gets access to it. This is what mastery feels like, not perfection, but presence, the ability to stay centered, regardless of what the world throws at you. You're no longer just avoiding the old patterns. You've outgrown them. They no longer match the frequency you operate on. The identity of the man who needed constant release, distraction, and validation has dissolved. In his place stands someone quieter, stronger, more certain. You feel it in how you walk into a room, not with arrogance, but with certainty. You don't need to speak loudly. You don't need to be seen. You are seen because your presence speaks before you do. The mission begins to emerge here. The question becomes, what now? With all this energy, clarity, and momentum, what do you build? What do you give back? What do you lead? You start seeing your time as sacred, your energy as currency, and your attention as power. You become more selective about conversations, environments, even your own thoughts. Not from fear, but from alignment, because now you understand the cost of leakage, of wasting what you've worked so hard to harness. The depth of your masculinity takes on a new form here. It's not about control over others. It's about responsibility for yourself. It's leadership through example, strength through restraint, direction through stillness. And you begin to notice, subtly, steadily, that you're not the one chasing goals anymore. You've become the kind of man goals move toward.